and this lecture is about the arms race. So what is an arms race? It's the struggle to gain weapons superiority between the US and the Soviet Union. So we want to see who had the biggest, baddest weapons on Earth. Another vocabulary word that you have is deterrence. It's a policy of maintaining a military arsenal so strong that no enemy will attack for fear of retaliation. So basically, if the US has a whole bunch of weapons, the Soviets are unlikely to attack us because they know that we can retaliate and pack a punch. Same thing with us. We're not going to attack the Soviets because they know, or we know, that they could, definitely retaliate and they could definitely hurt us if we decided to attack. These are a couple graphs showing you the nuclear stockpiles today. You can see that Russia has the largest amount. This is just another way of looking at these stockpiles. The black nuclear bombs represent the nuclear bombs that are in storage, and they are supposed to be dismantled soon. Brinkmanship is another vocabulary word, and it just basically means that a country will go to the point of war without actually going to war. This idea was thought about by Secretary of State John Foster Dulles, and he did not want the U.S. to appear weak. So there we had to actually step up, act like we're tough, but he didn't want the U.S. to go to war. So we had to convince the Soviets that we were willing not to back down and look like we were ready to go to war, when in reality, we weren't. We just didn't want to appear weak. Now, we did use nuclear weapons, nuclear technologies to develop weapons. Remember that hydrogen bomb that was detonated in 1952, and it gave radiation burns to Japanese fishermen about 90 miles away. But we also used nuclear power to power submarines. Instead of coming to the surface for fuel frequently, you can be underwater in a nuclear power sub for a long time. And the first nuclear power plant was actually constructed in Shippingport, Pennsylvania, and that was done in 1957. Now, the Soviets were also making advances, and one of the advances was intercontinental ballistic missiles. These missiles, guys, are long-range missiles. They could travel from continent to continent, and the Soviets had the ability to do that. The U.S. did not. The only way that we could deliver a nuclear bomb was by an airplane. The Soviets don't have to send a pilot. They do not have to send an airplane. They could just launch a missile, put a nuclear warhead, and boom. So we were very fearful. Another thing that the Soviets did, because they have that missile technology, they were also able to launch a satellite into space. And this is Sputnik, and it was launched on October 4th, 1957. It was about the size of a basketball. It weighed 180 pounds. It orbited the Earth every 98 minutes. It did come back 3 months later, but who cares? This is the first one. So the Soviets are able to spy on us. They could put nuclear weapons on it if they wanted. So the U.S. had to get up to snuff. And we launched our first satellite in January of the next year. And then this was another scary incident. This is the U-2 spy plane incident. This is a U-2 spy plane. The U.S. had these. They would fly 15 miles up in the air, and they would take aerial photos. And they were very hard to detect, or it was very hard to shoot them down. Well, because of the missile technology of the Soviets, they were able to shoot a U-2 spy plane down that was flying over the Soviet Union. And not only could the missile go long distance, 15 miles, mind you, they had accuracy, like it accurately hit the airplane. Francis Gary Powers was the pilot. He was captured by the Soviets, and this became the first spy swap. Now, which event added to the Americans' fears of an attack by the Soviets? Guys, it's actually the Soviets' ability to build an atomic bomb. That's what scared Americans the most.